Angela, what's your last name? Doherty.
Doherty.
Doherty. Can you spell that, please?
Daugherty.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we've got some minutes to approve, consider. Start with the regular meeting.
I didn't have any comments, so I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Special meeting.
Yeah, special meeting that we met to discuss health and consider health insurance. That was on the 25th. Any additions, corrections?
I saw none, I'll motion to pass.
I'll second.
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, first meeting of the month, we're gonna get a report, scheduled report from Mr. Kitco, who's our zoning inspector.
Okay, you should all have a copy of activity for October. We processed 6 applications. We do have a variance request, which was withdrawn or recessed, and I don't know if they're gonna be ready for this month, or they might wait till December. Part of the reason is Jane's not, she's going to be out for some surgery, but it's in reference to the old beauty shop on 44 there. It's under new ownership, and they want to do some things which are in the zoning, but they need a variance as well, and rather than there was some traffic flow issues that I didn't feel comfortable with, and neither did members of the board. They do own an additional piece of property to the south, so they're going to go to ODOT. That might take some time as well. We all know how dealing with ODOT is. But in essence, they want a drive-through, roll around type of ingress and egress, and it's very tight, very close to the property line, and so they're going to see if ODOT will grant them on this piece next to it, and if that's the case, then they'll put the 2 parcels together, and it'll make the traffic pattern flow much better, and much safer for everybody. They are proposing a drive-up window situation, which is permitted in that district, but to make it all, in my opinion, flow properly wasn't real good. So they decided to let's rethink this project, because the building is too close to the property, encroaches upon the front setback as it is now, but it's grandfathered, but they're asking to come 8 foot further into the front yard in reference to handicap accessibility, which the business needs to make it work. So they've decided to just recess everything until they get some answers out of ODOT. And I don't know if they will. I don't think they'll be ready for this month, maybe December, but I don't think so. Other than that, we did process 6 other applications. You can see there, number 1 activity is accessory buildings. Between the 2, we're at 26 for the year, which is quite a few accessory buildings. Only 3 new residential homes all year so far. That's coming down. We do have, I think 3 or 4 pending situations that we're just not ready to. They're not ready yet, but made inquiries and are working on some plans, but that's it.
So it would probably be amazing to see anything with the coffee shop till next year, I would think, right?
Right, I don't think so, because dealing, in all my years in dealing with ODOT, they don't, they don't respond very quickly when someone requests some information. I mean, so we'll see. I know that they've reached out. I don't know what the outcome is yet. I mean, I think they'll grant it. It's just that, where they might let it. It's just like the piece to the south. The gentleman bought that piece from the township, but hasn't been able to do what he wanted to do because he can't get approval from ODOT to do what he wants to do, because what he wants to do encroaches on the ramp, and ODOT says no. But there is some new people up there at ODOT. I don't know. I used to know two of the people and dealt with them, but they're not there anymore, or they've moved on or moved up. But, so I don't know who the representative would be that they have to contact. But their architect, engineer was gonna take that on, so.
Which doing is this? Which one is this you're talking about with ODOT?
Ashba's place down there.
Whose place?
The old Maxwell,
Yeah, Maxwell's house was gonna be the gas
the
station.
township bought
Okay.
and then subsequently sold. Well, that guy, he changed some things on the lot next to it and bought the lot next to it, but he wants a traffic pattern in and out, and his exit going out is to the south, is too close to the ramp.
Was this for a gas station, or was this for the trucking thing you wanted to do? Or is that
It's
something
a large scale gas station.
Yeah, it's
much
a
like
gas
the one out
station,
in Park.
similar like what's out in Park.
Same owner. And ODOT won't give them anything but right in, right out. They won't let
Right.
anybody cross the median.
Right.
Okay.
I've been in several meetings with ODOT people about that area, and I think what they want is an access road to the north, so all those properties can be accessed from the rear rather than frontage on 44. I think that's what they're looking for. At least the leadership
Weren't
was
they
at
looking
that
at putting a
time.
turn lane on there also, which they expected the owner to pay for? That was when they were originally looking at the,
I think if you look at the map, or you drive that, they're looking for another east-west road, about halfway up from the freeway, about where our property sits, the township's property sits, where the old garage was. And then you would access Mr. Ashba's property off of that road, as well as the other commercial properties in the area. That's what I picked up on, and that was that fellow's name was Brian, I think it was. We sat right around this table a couple
Well, I
times.
know they made the comment, whatever they do to the north subsequently, they want done to the south. Yeah, and they want, in other words, when and if it develops and they grant access, they want to look close to the same, and I don't know if that's gonna happen. Because the parcel where AmeriGas used to be, where the old Ohio station, if those of you remember, there used to be a Ohio station many years down there. All that corner there is owned by a family from Chesterland, but they don't get along. I think there's a grandfather, a son, and another sibling, and the three of them don't get along, and they've all come at one time or another, asked to do this, and this, and I said, until you put the properties together, you can't do what you want to do. They want one shared driveway but they don't want to
weren't they
combine the property.
originally talking a road that would cut behind it, go all the way
Right.
down to Washington, and
Right. But they just haven't, they just don't get along, so, you know, I've met with two of the three and made suggestions, but, you know, I said, the big thing is you gotta get, how you gonna access all this property, you know, all that, you know.
Yeah, this owner, Gene, he owns the Bell Station there at Bell Road 306, did that one.
He has the one up at
Parkman.
Parkman too.
And there's
Got
one
one
in
in
Andover, and then he owns one on
Clarendon,
322 and
Clarendon.
Right.
608 maybe. So, you know, he's capable, he does good work,
Right.
you know, I mean, you know, ODOT's put up a stop sign, so to speak, there.
Okay.
That's all I have.
You wanna take Angela, so she don't have to sit
Yeah,
We only have two.
we have
here?
two.
The only
change.
ones here today, right?
Two.
You're Chris?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's do,
And we can run those first.
might as well.
Okay, applications for, we run ads, we have terms expiring, full terms every year, one full term on the zoning board of appeals, one on the zoning commission, and then we have two alternate, we call them alternate term positions, and those terms run every year, so those two expire every year, so we do have some positions coming open first of the year. Angela, you've interviewed with us before. We used to do an executive session and have a little back and forth, and we've been advised by our prosecutor's office that that's no longer acceptable practice, so we have to do these at a public meeting. So Angela's been here before, and that's why the different format, because that's what we gotta do.
Yeah, it's a good way to see how you perform in public.
Any wish for a certain board of appeals or commission, you know, I think you probably, I'm sure, understand the difference.
I do understand the difference. No, I'm just looking to get involved in my community. Always been very important to myself and my family. I was raised here, I raised my family here. I understand the importance of growth for the township, but I also know that we wanna try and stay true to our roots of a country simple living as well. So it's a balancing game, and I respect that and would like to be part of the process.
Chris?
Well, so very similar to Angela, I'm looking to contribute to my community. I was not born here, but I married in, where I hang my hat. Really, I might have a slight preference for the zoning commission. I think as a small township, it's in everybody's best interest to try to resist outside influence where it's maybe deleterious to the community, and do maintain the small town character of the community if possible. So I hang my hat here, and I plan on staying for a long time, and that's a big part of the reason why we moved out here rather than further west. So in any case, yeah, just looking to contribute to the community I live in, and keep it as a nice place for my children to live.
Okay, any questions for?
I do not.
Like I said, well, first off, you know, we don't know how many positions will be open, because the people that are on there, give them first shot to remain. And so, like, none of this is guaranteed, but I want you to, when I first went on the BZA, I put an application in, and think I got hired 3 years later. So, you know, there's a waiting game involved, and, but like I said, anybody that doesn't make it, again, this year, make sure you get it in next year, because it's nothing personal against you, there's just, and again, this is a good thing, is that we'll probably have more people looking for the positions than positions we have. Which wasn't true in the past.
Yeah, that ebbs and flows though, yeah.
Yeah, a few years ago, I'll cover that in my report a little bit, but, yeah, that there were certain years that we just had trouble, you know, just nobody would come in, and it was like, so we're out there, you know, begging and bribing people to get on the board, so, it's really a good thing to see that we've got, you know, 3 or 4 people, looking for the position this year, so.
Have you attended a commission meeting or ZBA meeting? Either Chris or Angel?
I have not attended either of those meetings. I did serve as secretary on the Tangled Green Condominium Owners Association for 2 years.
And I think I attended a lot of meetings, I couldn't tell you which ones, back when Kings James was trying to do the cluster housing here, so I may have, but like I said, I attended a lot of meetings.
Those were
surrounding
kind
that.
of next level.
Yeah.
That would've been, I think those were all commission meetings, I don't
Commission
remember
meetings.
ZBA.
Didn't go
Never
before
got
it began.
involved.
Yeah, we never got that
I never
far.
got that far.
Yeah. Probably the one at the old church over there.
Mhm.
Boy, King James, that's going back.
I just date myself.
Dated me too, because I was on the board.
We're talking about good times.
Yeah.
Well, for anybody that's not familiar with that, what was that number of homes? It was on the
400 across the street from me, on
Yeah, it
400
was-
acres.
west side of 44. I think it came all the way over here to Auburn.
Mhm.
Yep.
Was it just 400 homes?
Around 400. yeah.
That was the 55 and up part of that.
I don't
No,
believe.
this wasn't even-
this
this
was.
was-
Mm-mm.
No, the whole.
What group was that? Remember that
That
group?
was the other one, Redwood down.
Yeah, the whole drift behind this one is they were trying to sell us on small lots, but it would be covering the same area. It's just the houses would all be clustered, and it's like, it's all well and good, it's like, okay, so you're buying a hunk of land and 90% of it isn't buildable, and you're gonna cluster all the homes on one side, and you're doing us a favor.
And you still need sewers.
No, they were not.
But they were gonna use the open
They were
spot
not,
as.
that's right.
Oh, they were gonna have a
septic
giant
fields.
sprinkler
Yes.
system,
Right.
Septic system.
Yeah, those were interesting times. Yeah. Well, we have contact information, and as we get closer to the organizational meeting, I certainly might have a question or two, and we'll contact the individual and work it out at this end, okay? Does that sound good?
Thank you.
That's what we'll do. I thank you for your interest, and thank you for coming up tonight. Thank you. Okay. Frank, one more question I had about that gas station, the Ashbrook property down there now. He went before ZBA years ago. Aren't those good for 2 years?
Yeah, but he didn't get approval, he withdrew, so he can come back if he
Withdrew.
wants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
No, he did go, no, he went before to change the zoning on the lot to the north. And did that, but
Did
then the Board of Appeal, or, you know, coming before the Board of Appeals for the conditional use part, because of ODOT stump, you know, we told him, you gotta get ODOT straightened out before you, so.
Yeah, that put the brakes in, it was ODOT that put the brakes on everything, and it just stopped.
And I remember John and I And at one point, sitting down with a representative from ODOT and, you know, and trying to pick his brain and see what they wanted, and, you know, a little bit, and like I said, we got the impression that they're gonna let something, but whatever they do, if the north develops first, north side of the intersection develops first, which at that point in time was where the interest was, whatever they worked out, they were gonna flip it and copycat it to the south side. And that was the indication, well, as we well know, that nothing's been done either way, you know, because then subsequently some people from the south side came in, and here again, they didn't, nothing materialized there, you know, and then in Snavely represented a group and was gonna build a big gas station and everything on the south side, and that never materialized because they could never find he wanted to build it, but then turn it over to like a Sheets or, you know, and nobody would bite. They said the visibility was not good, and, you know, and so forth and so on. It kind of died. So where it sits right now.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that for years you've chased, you know, I don't know, let's say we've adjusted our zoning to make that more attractive for businesses down there, and we were told over and over that we don't have enough traffic to warrant that kind of development. And then we get the gas station fella here that's made a good proposal, he does good work, and ODOT says that, you know, there's too much traffic there, you can't have all those left turns. So,
Yeah, you're right.
we're covered, yeah. All right, any questions for Mr. Kitco regarding zoning? Thank you again, Frank. And we'll go on our reports here, and we'll start at the other end with Mike Tryon.
Okay, it's one thing I wanted to go over and run past you guys. And this goes back on to my statement of, we kind of force-fed some positions on the boards, and if you look at the attendance record, certain people aren't coming to a lot of meetings. They'll be there when they're needed, but I know they've got, a couple of the guys especially have really busy schedules. And I just thought we might want to approach them if we have enough people that are interested in the positions to say, and just explain to them, hey, we understand you were kind of force-fed into this. You don't have, you know, really the time to do it. You know, if you'd want to step down, we wouldn't think any less of you, and, you know, we have some people now to come in there. Again, it would be purely voluntary on their part, but I think it'd be something we might want to just pass along, just to see if it's, you know, if it'd be viable or if they'd be interested.
What do you mean force-fed?
Well, we didn't have any we didn't have anybody applying for the jobs, so it was kind of like, it wasn't somebody that came in and volunteered for the job. It was more like, I know you guys really don't have time, would you mind doing this for us? Type thing, and, you know, they were being, well, yeah, if you need it, you know, we're here for you, but.
Well, we have alternates, and we have people on the board, we've had people apply for it. Let's look at the schedule. How many meetings did they miss? We've done that before. If they've missed too many meetings, we replace them.
And 3 or 4 years ago, we did have several, it was mostly commission meetings that were canceled for lack of quorum.
Well,
And we took action to kind of fix that. I don't think that's been going on much.
The one thing we have to be careful of with being that these are appointed positions, they are appointed for a specific term. So we have to, I think we'd have to check with the prosecutor to see exactly what cause would be to pull someone out. Missing a few meetings might not be.
a few meetings, okay, but if they're missing constantly, and you're right, they're appointed for a position, but you call them in and you say, we'd like you to step down because you're not being able to do the job. I would think anybody would understand that. And like you said, they may say, yeah, you're right, I didn't realize my work schedule would interfere so much, but, you know, I think it's important that you have to have a
I'm
quorum
looking
of
for the
these
same
meetings.
result, I was just trying to do it a little more diplomatic.
I'm not a I'm too old to be diplomatic.
Good point.
You know, I mean, we're near the end of the year, those members are paid twice a year, so, you know, if you wanna get the attendance records in here for the first meeting in December, we can consider them right then at the same time we're considering new
I
appointments.
would think that'd be the best thing to do.
I think so too.
Actually, I already had Nancy pull those up, and I'm sure I could have them shoot her to. I just had her get it for me to kind of take a look at it to see the viability and whether, you know, whether there was an issue or not. So, that's why I wanted to go for the meeting first, but I'll have her, I can't forward it to you. Yeah, I'll have her email it to you. She had it up till the last meeting. That was it.
What you got, Jane?
Well, I've been sitting here thinking about how I want to start this. And I guess I'll start it this way. We all know people, or maybe part of this situation, that you have children looking for a house, buying a house, looking for property, and they go in and they bid on the house, and then you find out the house goes for $50,000 more than what the people are asking for it. We've heard that scenario over and over and over. Well, the chickens are home to roost now. This is the 6th year where the county actually has people come to your property and reevaluate the value of your property. Now, what is that based on? It's not only based on what you've done to your property, it's also based on what properties are selling around your home. I'll give you a perfect example. I live on Munn Road, about 500 feet from the Portage County line. We have a subdivision there called Sablewood. Okay? A house just sold there for $1.4 million. 10 years ago, that house doesn't go for $400,000. So you work all that in, and everybody in Auburn Township is going to see a 30% increase in your property taxes. And when you get that, if you remember in the old days, they used to send the bill out right before Christmas, and then of course they would call the county and say, you've ruined our holidays, you've ruined everything. So then they started sending them out in January, which wasn't acceptable. So now you usually get your property bill somewhere around the middle of February. And when you get that property bill this year, you're going to see a 30% increase in your taxes.
Sure, ruined my Valentine's Day.
There you go, ruined your Valentine's.
I think they're due in February. You get them around.
You get them,
Christmas.
I think they mail them. I think he said February, he said they mail it now.
Oh.
Yeah, I think
January,
they're looking at extending the payment out to the 21st of February.
Okay.
So that's later.
So- To continue the talk, we went to a meeting, the Budget Commission had a special meeting. I attended, the Joneses attended. There were, probably every township was represented there except Newberry, and they weren't there because they had a meeting. And the gist of the meeting was to discuss what's about to happen in the state of Ohio with all these valuations. To the best of my knowledge, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Geauga County seems to be the only one right off the bat that kind of do something about this to kind of alleviate some of the burden on the people. So, and I will say, and I've been involved in this government for a long time, even I did not completely understand inside and outside millage. It was always that, what's this? Well, you have inside millage, which is tax that you do not get to vote on. Okay, and like the auditor said at the meeting, there was a lot of tea dumped in a Boston Harbor one time for this very same thing of people who did not get to vote on a raise in taxes. Now, so you have inside millage, outside millage, and assessments. The outside millage and the assessments don't change. That's like street lighting, sewer, water, the people that have that, those are assessments. The outside millage is things you vote on, like our road and bridge levies, the school levies, anything that you get to vote on. The inside millage is things you have no say-so over at all. It's a government entity tax. Okay, the millage, inside millage in Jog County is 10%, 10 mills. 10 mills, okay? And that is divided between the school, the township, and the county. The county gets 2.5% of that inside millage. Auburn Township gets 3% of that inside millage, and Kenston School System gets 4.5% of that millage. So what the county has tried to initiate and start, and the county commissioners, if you've read the Chagrin Valley Times, have already done that. The commissioners are alleviating their 2.5% by lowering the jobs and, what levy is that?
Family service.
Yeah, family service levy by 2.5%. So they've wiped out that 2.5% on their end. They've asked the townships and the schools to look at their levies, look at their budgets, and see if they can come up with a proportion that would be the same amount, like our 3%. Now, they've also listed for us the levies that would qualify for us to lower those amount, that 3 point. We can either do it through one of our fire levies, we can do it through a road and bridge levy. Now, Auburn's case, or all three.
Spread it out.
And you don't even have to do the whole 3%, you can do a percentage of it. But they're asking us to do that to alleviate this money that people are about to see in their property taxes. Now, in Auburn's case, and I've asked Dan to check today with them, is that since we've already lost a levy that would have brought in $200 and some thousand, our portion of the inside millage that we would collect under this new system is about $268,000.
263 760.
Now, beat me up for $5,000. Anyway, so it's 200 something. So that levy that we are no longer going to have on, that we should have had on, kind of makes up for this. But I just wanted Dan to check with the auditor, in fact, how that is, because the auditor is going to have a web page and put down all the townships that are participating in this, and if they don't see Auburn's name in there. So I think if we're going to go, we need to decide as a board, we're covered because we just lost a whole road and bridge levy, that we either get the word out to the people that yes, we are participating, not because of anything other than we have a levy that's no longer going to be on the ballot.
Yeah, but before all this, we were planning on putting a levy on
Right.
and getting the money back.
Right. So
But now we decided that,
yeah.
well, kill two birds with one, don't put it on.
Right.
So
I guess my point is, we definitely want our residents to know that we're not sitting idly by and not sharing what everybody else looks like is going to be sharing in this.
We had already started the paperwork to
Right.
put that levy
Right.
on the March ballot.
Right.
So
We're pretty much even with that 3% on Auburn's end, but I think it's important that the people of Auburn understand why our name won't be on that special list. Now, as I was talking with Diane, there was a lot of people at this meeting. I didn't see anybody from any school districts there. So I don't know how the schools are going to, I know Kenston has a big levy on here right now tomorrow. And so I really don't know what the school's feelings are in participating in this, and that's half of the inside millage. They've got 4.5% of this whole thing we're talking about. So I know
they
personally,
got 45%
4.5% is what they're
of
getting.
the 10
It's
inside mills.
10 mills, 4.5 to the school,
So they're getting
2.5
half
to
the
them,
inside
and
millage
we
goes
get
to the
3.
schools.
Yeah. So, I don't know how we get that word out, because as we all know, most people are busy in their daily lives, and when they see what happens to their mortgage payments or their new property payments, a lot of people are going to be in shock. Now, personally, I've already set up a couple of communities or subdivisions where I'm going to meet with the residents to just give them a heads up of what's about to happen, so that they're not taken by surprise. I don't know if maybe we should have a community thing at a hall to give residents the opportunity to hear what's going on, but anyway, that's what I'm doing personally. But that's what we're looking at with this new levy, and this is the biggest increase in property taxes since 1978. And even in 78, it was nowhere near what we're about to get hit with. And like I said, it's not our fault, it's not the government's fault, it's just what happened with real estate. I mean, and we've all seen it, we've all talked about it, and some of us even gloated and said, hey, geez, this house got next door to me just sold for $500,000. That means my house is now worth, yeah, well, now here's the bad side of that. And that's what is about to happen.
Did
So,
the auditor encourage contact to Steve Demetrios or Fowler?
well, let me finish. This is a 1-year fix, a 1-year solution. They're hoping that the state will look at this and grant relief down the road.
Because this is
and they do
statewide,
something.
this is not.
Yeah,
unique
this
to
is the
Geauga
whole
or
state,
the
the
area,
whole
it's
state.
the whole state.
To my best of my knowledge, at that meeting, Geauga was the only one that has stepped forward to do something about it with the inside
As of this
village.
date, however,
Yeah.
yeah, Geraldo was hoping to be the role model.
Right.
And everybody would make the rest of the village.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, they made it very clear, this is just a 1-year, what happens next year is anybody's guess.
Well, I mean,
So,
from that vantage point then, if, since we're eating our 3% and county is going to take care of theirs,
2.5, they've
so
already
if
done
it's
it.
30%, now we're down to 15.
Right,
Still horrible, but better than 30.
right. And like I said, maybe the schools, I have no idea because I didn't see anybody
Yeah,
there,
don't
but
hold your
whether
breath,
they're
I'm not
gonna
doing anything.
participate or not. I will tell you this, and they made it clear, you're not mandated to participate in this. But next year, when you go for your budget hearing meeting, if you have money that you didn't spend, it's gonna be gone. So, I don't know how that affects the schools or not, but, yeah. Anybody have any questions on that? Have I made that clear about what's about to happen? Everybody got it? You understand the inside, outside? Okay. Your regular taxes, the things that we vote on, is not changing. Assessments are not changing, it's just the inside millage that's changing for all of us.
I think the surprise, yeah, a lot of us knew there was gonna be a sexennial revaluation. It's just, that was an 18-month process.
Right.
And 2023, to find out about it at the end of 2023, that was effective on January 1st, 2023, and that's the bad part. It's kind of like, what should we have been doing, in December 2022 to get a heads up on this and make a difference?
It's a 6-year evaluation
It's
that
just
they do
state
this.
auditor.
But they also said every 3 years, they do kind of a small adjustment, like what did they say, 3.5% or something, it went up a little bit, but this is gonna be the big one. If you live in South Russell, it's 37.5%.
I thought it was
So,
more than that.
yeah, I got
thought
the
it was just
sheets in
about
this.
double.
It's actually for,
What does that do with the CAUV evaluation?
29, what is it, 29%?
Is it 29 on CAUV, or is that different again?
Yeah, the village of South Russell is 37.7%.
I think the big hit on CAUV taxes is the soil values.
Yeah.
have been
The soil
adjusted
value.
way up.
29.1%.
Crop prices follow like a some of it's based on crop prices, and that follows a 5-year rolling average, which, there was a spike 6-8
there
years
was.
ago. That's gone now, that's no longer
Oh, that's
figured in.
right, but I remember, CAUV values went up.
Yes, they did.
Was that about 10,
I'm thinking more like 6 or 8 years
was
ago.
it 6 or, that was bad.
It was,
That
yeah.
was tough, those couple of
$18
years.
soybeans and $8 corn. I remember the plain dealer headline said $8 corn's here to stay. Well, it wasn't, but, yeah,
Well,
that was what caused that.
Yeah,
It's all relevant, like one of the situations they said, one lady said, that's nothing, it's a couple of pizzas a month. And the other lady said,
She must have been the same one.
that's my medication that I
Yeah.
can't afford now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's gonna be hard for a lot of people, that's for sure, especially if you're on a fixed income.
If you follow any of those social media,
I don't.
like Next Door Neighbor,
Nope.
it's all over that.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. It's been for a couple weeks. It's pretty heavy.
Are they complaining or are they telling them what's about, how it's
Both.
both? That's why I don't go on those. So, that's number one, that's out of the way. Number two, I went to the broadband meeting at Centerville Mills with Steve, Dimitri, and Mrs. O'Brien, the trustee, and Bainbridge. It wasn't very well attended, to be honest with you. The guy from the state was there. I had the whole PowerPoint sent to me. I'll send it to both you guys. The gist of it is that by 2030, the whole state has to be wired for high-speed internet to every household in the state. Now, the problem is, if you have it right now and it's poor, they don't have time to worry about you right now. They're worried first to get it to the homes of the people that have nothing. They have grants. I'm not going to, like I said, it was a couple-hour meeting. It's not worth going through the whole thing. The gist of it is there's going to be grant money. I forget how many billions of dollars the state has towards this. But the areas they're going to concentrate on first are areas that have absolutely no internet service, and that means building the whole infrastructure to do that. Anybody want to guess what a telephone pole costs today? $10,000 for a telephone pole. So there's going to be a lot of money go to build just the infrastructure because some of these areas that don't have it, telephone poles and stuff like that haven't been redone since the 1800s. So they have to replace poles that will hold all this new stuff, and so that's the gist of it. By 2030, by 2025, they're going to have all this noted, who doesn't, how much, all that, and by 2030, supposedly, everybody who wants it will be able to connect it to their house from the pole.
Except for PJ.
Except for me, that's right. Now, that's what I was gonna ask you, those grants are not going to the township, they're going to the providers.
Yes.
Right.
And we have such a lovely provider here in Auburn County.
And the providers are, if they're smart, will come to us and ask us for a letter of recommendation that they're the people to do it for us to get special blessings from the state to get these grants and what have you, so.
I gotta say, my first idea is Optimum Seabridge Star, whatever they're going by nowadays.
Optimum.
Altris or whatever. How would you give a letter of recommendation for that?
What, did they say
Well, you
about
know-
that Starlink?
No, they did not. But, well, we've had people come in here and say, well, we're gonna get it, we're getting the money to do it, and then we've heard people say, yeah, they're gonna get the money to do it in 10 years.
Yeah.
So, maybe this'll rush things up a little bit, I don't know, we'll see, but,
Who knows, I've got my Windstream coming in through
Yeah.
my 1990 phone line.
well, I always ask, my question is, when I'm sitting in my office in my house with high-speed internet and my phone says no service, who do I blame? Do I blame Windstream? Do I blame Verizon? Do I blame Optum? Who am I blaming here now? Because we've all gotten to the point now, I'm sure as many as you, I'm getting bills for things I don't even know what they do. I got Optimum, I got Verizon, I got...
But you have choices. Many of us don't have a
Absolutely,
choice.
absolutely.
I got zero.
But I guess my point in saying that is
So do
whining
I.
a little bit. I have all these choices, and I still have lousy
It
service.
doesn't make any difference, Jimmy. Now, Mrs. Kimball, she called and they said, it'll be back on
Yeah.
at 12 a.m.,
Yeah,
at midnight, in other words. So, if I want to use the internet, I gotta stay up till midnight, forget that.
well, like in one of the situations they gave, imagine a school system where all the kids in the school have their computers, but the computer is down from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon.
Right.
That doesn't help anybody,
Well,
does it?
it's what happened during COVID sometime, the kids
Yeah.
couldn't even get on, they were, you know.
Anybody else here have Windstream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine's been, overall pretty reliable. But just recently, it's been going into like these little 10-minute, where it takes a little break and then comes back. And it's been doing that now for the last couple months. It's not.
Never used to go out when the power went out either, it goes out right away now.
Yeah, well, like I said, if you have an office at home, which a lot of people do now, I know my daughter works out of her house in Newberry, if she goes down, she's out.
Yeah.
Okay, those are
In
my
the-
reports, all good reports, huh?
In the midst of the COVID thing, I remember we had people coming in, they had Suddenlink for the high speed, but they had a backup like Windstream or whatever for
It was slow, but
reliability.
it for the
Right,
right,
the Suddenlink was so bad, yeah.
so they just bought both of them in hopes that one of them would be working at any given time.
And that's when everybody's working from home.
That's what I said,
School
like I
was all
said,
from
I
home.
got all of them, but I still, that's all I have, just very good news
All right,
today.
very good. Couple things you saw in the requisitions there, we're still having more problems with the generator at the road department. It's not an orange and it's not a grapefruit, it's a lemon, is what that is. They're saying this is the one we've been looking for. We're going to start looking at, we've got some money left.
The NOPEC money?
Yeah, with that NOPEC money, and we're gonna, even if we ordered a generator tomorrow, we probably wouldn't see it for a year.
Yeah, so.
So,
if I want
but we're
those-
gonna start gathering up some sizing information and what we would need for, you know, baseline, keep the building going, because you got those giant bores, you got the air exchange system that runs in there all the time. So, get some folks out and calculate what we need there, and we're gonna start getting some prices. That might be something around.
We have 2 requisitions for the generator, is there another one over there?
Yeah, I haven't gotten everything yet, I'm
I mean, are you gonna approve them, or?
Yeah, we're gonna fix it, as I said, if we order a new one today, we won't get it for a year, so, that doesn't.
Just for the levy, which we are now not going to put on, I believe we did motion to put that levy on. Should we do a motion to cancel it, just to have it on the record? If it's sometime it comes up in the future of why this levy didn't go on.
Gee, you think that could come up in the future?
Well,
It's never happened in the past.
I know.
Oh, wait.
We never submitted the resolution, or?
No, we never submitted a resolution, but I believe we did make a motion.
We did make a motion to start the,
to-
to start the, yeah.
To start the process.
process.
Make it.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, yeah, make a motion to rescind the 1% levy that we were looking at putting on in March or May?
March.
I'll second it.
24.
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. So just to have it on the record why we didn't have a,
Right.
because, like I said, just recently we found out, you don't know what's gonna happen if you don't say that. In the county, if we don't put it on their minutes, they will probably still be charging them anyway, so.
We got an email from the state, from ODOT, seems to be the topic of the night, towards the end of last month. Did you guys read that about the detour when they're gonna do another pipe on 44 and they're gonna use Stafford Road, I believe, is the primary detour for Messenger.
It's after the message.
Did you see that?
I did not.
All right, read this. There's a couple of things mentioned in here. Phase 1 would entail, and this is a cross pipe just north of westbound Stafford. That
It's
goes
north of that?
just north of the recently resurfaced Stafford Road, the one we just did.
Okay.
Pipes on the north side. So phase 1 would be the traffic control poles to maintain traffic during the subsequent phases. Phase 2 would entail the closure of traffic on 44 southbound lanes, with traffic in both directions being maintained in the northbound lanes by the control system. Stafford Road access was planned to be maintained. And then later on it says, maintaining access to Stafford Road during phase 2 has been determined to be infeasible without installing appreciable amount of temporary pavement. So they're proposing that during phase 2, Stafford Road would be temporarily blocked with a portable concrete barrier. I see, if you can read this and follow it, I don't know, I'm gonna get with Emmerich tomorrow. I can't, we're gonna use it for the detour, but we're gonna block it with a barrier. I don't know what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, I'm not a civil engineer, but that would seem impractical.
I read it 3 times and I still don't know what they're doing with it, so. But they would like our response and concerns by November 10th.
When did you get the letter?
October 23rd it came
It's a problem for the fire department if they shut down the road
in.
like
Did you
that.
see this?
No. It's the first time
I
hearing
can't even
about it.
follow it, John, I tell you. I don't know what they're thinking on doing, so. I'm gonna leave this in the office here tonight then.
I'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah, get it tomorrow. All right. And the other thing is, we made a motion a while ago to place Emmerich Gordon on administrative leave, paid administrative leave. I would like to make a motion to have Emmerich Gordon return to duty, beginning immediately.
I'll second that.
TJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
That's all I got, so Dan, we'll move over to you.
Who seconded that, Gene?
Gene did this.
Okay, I have a copy of the payment report. We've had 3 weeks between meetings, so there were 33 payments processed. And you have a copy of that listing. Also, I attended a one-day fiscal officer training in Twinsburg by the Ohio Auditor of State, and there's some pretty good topics. I mean, the one was on bank reconciliations, and if you recall last year when I took over, there were 10 reconciliations that hadn't been done. And I found out that there's a switch that you can turn on in the Ohio Auditor of State website that will notify the board, as long as all your emails are in there, which they are, when reconciliations aren't completed for 2 consecutive months. That switch was never turned on, so I turned that switch on, so in the event that I wouldn't do a reconciliation for 2 months, you'll be notified. Also, you'll notice I gave you a copy of the last month's, October's bank reconciliation, so effective this meeting, I'm going to start, and every month hereafter I will provide you with a bank reconciliation, which shows the bank balances. We currently have $2,309,376.44 at the end of October, and there's 7 outstanding payments. And I'm going to ask that you each have a copy, but I'd like you to sign the original, and that'll be put in the record.
Thank you, Dan.
There were some other interesting topics. One was on cybersecurity and the dark web, and it was pretty fascinating as to our information that's out there. You have the World Wide Web, which everybody has access to, like the Facebook and Google and that kind of stuff. Then you have the surface web, which requires passwords. Then you have a deep web,
Jesus.
which
That's too many webs for me.
which consists of you know, certain institutions and whatnot, and then you got the dark web. And that's where they sell all your information, and the sex trafficking, and the illegal drug sales, and that's where everything else lies. And the only difference between the dark web and those other webs is your location of where you're entering your data from. You bounce off different, what do they call that?
IPOs.
Pardon me?
IPOs.
Yeah, different IP addresses. So you may be sitting here, but it'll take your IP address, bounce it off somebody in China, then bounce it off somebody in Africa, then bounce it off somebody in Europe, so they think you're somewhere else than where you are, and it's that much harder to track. And so the point of all this was the concern over the data and how well our data is protected and whatnot.
Well, wherever mine's being bounced to, that person has hacked me.
Oh,
About 4 times.
Yeah, I had my Venmo account attacked.
So did I, and they took money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they want you to verify it. A guy in California stole my money, and they want me to verify it. And I said, I'm in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't want this internet stuff, I don't know.
I always told people when I retired, you're just going to get in touch with me, you have to write me a letter. Didn't
And then,
work out that way, but
Then they had the local government services there that was around. It was pretty good information for fiscal officers. But and then what was it? And then the last thing. If you notice, there's a requisition for. I wanted to add 3 affiliate members to the Ohio Township Association. There's a rec there that's $35 a person, and one for Nancy, one for the road department, and one for zoning. And then there's another requisition where the Ohio Township Association is offering, instead of going in and individually looking at a webinar or a class pertaining to either fiscal officer, zoning, or road information, for $250 we can get a subscription for the year, and it would be accessible by all of us if you wanted to see a webinar or some educational training. So both, I talked to Nancy, I talked to Jane, and I mentioned it to Emmerich, and they thought it would be worthwhile just to have that available where they could go online, and if they see some class that pertains to them, they could view it. So.
Yeah, the amount of things they put out and have everybody be able to do it, I think $250 is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, because each
we've
webinar.
We've sent people on these
Yeah.
things too, so.
Each webinar costs anywhere from $20 to $30. $20 if you're a member, $30 if you're not. So if you have 10 people, it pays for itself. And that's all I got.
These are associate memberships for County Township Association.
Affiliate members. You have to be an employee to be an affiliate
Okay.
member.
All right, yeah. that's-
It would entitle them to come to the dinners and.
Which, by the way, we do host in January, so. You want that by a motion,
No, you signed the regs.
Who's that a record?
Oh, one last thing, that special meeting, just to follow up, we are gonna go with the Hartford insurance for 2024 for the Medicare eligible employees, and it was favorable participation. So. That's that.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Old business, we briefly discussed the funds available through that NOPEC energizing grant, and what, at this point, we're intending to use those for. Speed study, we requested this back in it was early summer, maybe midsummer. For Taylor May Road, it's based on some resident concerns. And we received that a week ago today. Some interesting things in there. One is we hadn't gone through a speed study with that particular road in 27 years. That's kind of surprised me. It was prior to it even getting an asphalt surface. In '96, when it was chip seal, it was concluded that 45 miles an hour was a reasonable speed limit. And although this has increased the traffic volume, the free flow speed was not observed to be negatively affected by subdivision traffic. The improved surface supports a higher speed limit. In fact, data sheets from '96 confirmed that 45 would be appropriate, and it still is considered to be appropriate. Now, had we requested this for 44 to 1. Had we requested this on the west end, which is now set at 40 miles an hour, there's a pretty good chance that would have gone to 45. So, as you have this addressed, it would have most likely gone up had we included that west end of Munn Road. And then there's some suggestions here at the back end. A hill crest, the intersection of St. James and Taylor May Road, and tree removal for the most part, which is pretty much true on every township road, true on every state road, about every road everywhere. So, I don't know, interesting stuff, I thought.
But the speed limit stays the same.
It's gonna stay the same, yeah. It's gonna
Here's
stay
my
the same.
surprise one.
I kinda expected that. We've
Didn't
done,
we all?
we did that once on Shaw Road, and they actually suggested that we increase the speed limit. So, sometimes you get what you pay for.
Did we notify the resident who asked for that?
Yes, she was forwarded the whole study. Yep. We discussed briefly at a prior meeting, application for a Class C liquor license at the pond. We did our diligence here, which what we normally do is we contact the sheriff's office and see if there's ever been any issues up there. Per the sheriff's office, no, there has not. So our decision is whether or not to request a hearing or to waive our right to a hearing.
Make a motion to waive our rights to the hearing.
I'll second it.
DJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Don't say it, Gene, don't say it.
Now, what goes better with liquor than hockey sticks?
Dan, this is your signature.
You were thinking it.
I'm not gonna say it.
I just translated, that's all.
Okay, that's old business. Organizational meeting. I haven't even looked at a calendar for January yet. Is
We need to do
anybody
that
else?
already?
Why don't we do it on
Seems
January
pretty
8th?
early.
Jesus.
It's already listed, listed there, isn't it?
January 1st is a Monday, is it?
Yes.
I have.
Organizational meeting.
January 8th, well, the first course is the first, we won't meet then. The 8th is fine. We'll probably meet, what, the 8th and the 22nd?
Right.
A motion?
So moved.
7:30?
Yep. 7:30. All right, Gene made the motion.
Remind me that in December.
Gene made the motion, I'll second it.
And that's to what?
We're gonna have, the January meetings will be,
The 8th and the
and the
22nd.
22nd at 7:30.
A second?
Will there be alcohol?
Well, who's seconding it, PJ or?
I did it.
Yeah, we're gonna have
We have
Doug,
2 seconds.
I know.
And a motion.
we're gonna have Doug,
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. You know, the county commissioners take their meeting on the road sometimes, maybe we should take ours on the road.
I think we should have a meeting here at Adam Hall. I do. I've been thinking that for a while. You know, it might look pretty scarce in there sometimes, but.
Well, if we had something really big to talk about, like the property tax thing, that'd be good. No, I think like one day we could have it at the hitching post.
Staying right here, I don't like change.
We have some franchise fees from CSC Holdings, also known as LT's, DBA Optimum.
That's our cable.
I don't know what they'll be next week, but there you go. Any idea what to do with those?
Go ahead, Mike, make it.
Make a motion to put those in the land acquisition and improvement fund?
Okay, that'd be $1,425.43.
Let's see, those pickleball courts coming sooner than you thought.
I'll second it.
PJ,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, that's the bottom of the agenda. BZA canceled their meeting on the 7th. Zoning Commission will be here on the 9th, 7:30. We'll be back here on the 20th.
What do we, and we're going to Montville on Wednesday?
Montville is.
Well, did I read, are we supposed to bring canned goods or something? I didn't.
Yes.
We are supposed to bring canned goods?
Don't think braille like you did last time.
Does it have to be a canned good? Can it be honey?
He put out a list of stuff that was
I didn't look at it. I don't even know where Montville is.
on the invite he put out,
Huh?
on the invite he put out.
I actually like what they've done with that old school up there. I think that's kind of well done. They got to run the fire department out of that property too. Okay, any questions for the board? Anything?
I have just a couple of comments. So there was talk about seeding the field over at Auburn Park, I think about a month ago. So if the township has a tractor and an operator, I can help the operator operate a seed drill and select the right kind of seed. Donate my time to do that. If we were to hire, say, Dave and Tree to do that, it would be probably around 10,000, maybe more. Whereas the seed itself, you probably get for about 3,000, give or take, depending on what the area is. But I'm regularly doing this in my job, so happy to help figure that out. We would need to borrow a drill from somebody. The county may have one, I know Jogga Park District has one. My employer, we borrowed our drill from the drill that we use from Jogga Park District. So just getting that done is as simple as having them operated for the tractor. Just put that out there. Then also I spoke with Emmerich and the Board of Trustees. This was a couple of months ago, and before the snow really starts flying, I did take a look at the woods over there. To the park. At the park. I've not had a chance yet to get to the woods behind Adam Hall, but there's still time. Fortunately, most of the invasive species are still green for a while longer. But over at the park overall, it's not too bad. Maybe about 5% covered. but especially along the parking lot and the entrance ways, it gets higher, it's maybe about 75% covered. There's glossy buckthorn in there, multiple rows, those are two predominant ones. It's a nice woods over there, there are a lot of beech trees. Chances are pretty good that in the next 10 years, 90% or more of those beech trees are gonna be dead. So as those holes open up, then those invasive species are gonna be the first ones to go and colonize. And right now, it's not too bad, but if it's left unaddressed, it could be a serious problem in the future. And I'll get some numbers for Adam Hall as well. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was just on digital hygiene, because what Dan was talking about. Good digital hygiene is a pain in the rear end, and letting your data go to whoever so that they can use it is a pain in the rear end. So I don't really like any of this technology stuff, but just for the community at large, it's a good idea to purchase a VPN, which puts you're using the internet in Albany Township. You can say, it's an IP in Chicago, it's an IP in New York, whatever. Anytime you sign up for some service, if they don't really need your actual email address, you can spoof an email address, use a fake one, or websites that'll give you an email address just for long enough to confirm an account. It's called salting your data. The more information you have out there, the easier it is for somebody to guess what your password would be. Through password managers, there are really a lot of strategies available which are time consuming and they're a pain in the rear end, but they're cheaper than getting scammed. So Kenston had a course about some of this stuff for parents a couple of months ago that we went into. So there are resources.
Okay, I'm just gonna go back to where you started. The woods behind Adam Hall is ours. There's no conservation easement on that whatsoever. So I appreciate you taking a look in there. I know those pine trees have been falling left and right over the years. So what we can do there is entirely up to the board and the township. The woods at the park, that is in a conservation easement with Western Reserve Land Conservancy. So any maintenance, anything you see in there, the path included, the benches, all this stuff, we contact them because they have
rights,
first refusal on anything up there. Anything in that woods, if you replanted anything or things like that. So I appreciate you putting the effort into that, and I know that's what you do. My son's drawn to that, stuff like that too, you and I have talked before. But anything we would want to do as far as maintenance or upkeep or anything up there, we have to clear with them first. So
they would almost certainly give approval for invasive management.
You would think, but we gotta run it past them, yeah. And as far as the, what's the term for this grass seeding, this native plants that?
Be a meadow installation.
Right. What Conservancy wants is they now, in order to get the parking lot area that we needed to expand up there, we traded the marsh, the lowland there at the south end, which I think's Clemens Creek headwaters, I believe, and the western 100 feet, I believe it is. And that's what they want us to delineate and no longer mow. So you're right, if you don't mow it, you're gonna have bramble and you're gonna have multiflora in there in a year. So if we want to avoid that, we would follow up on something along these lines that hopefully would limit that,
I'm still checking with the Jaga Foundation as far as a wildflower setting.
Yeah,
Keep some of that bramble
I'd like to
stuff
keep
out
that
of there.
garbage out of there, because that's, it's not native species, more than that, you know, and it's dominant, you know.
Well, then once that's established, it's just, it can be burned every 2 or 3 years or mowed every 2 or 3 years. Just keep that woody stuff out, and that's usually sufficient. Keep it in an herbaceous area.
Well, yeah, I'm still in favor of marking that line in some, even if it's every 100 feet, a tree line, you know. Maybe put something in there that's got some height to it at the start, like a, 4 to 6, 8 footer, so you can kind of say, well, this is our property, and this is what we've got to turn over to Conservancy, you know. I think that's where you start. It doesn't have to be very dense, it doesn't have to be expensive, it just has to be a row of trees, but hopefully the rabbits won't eat, and the deer won't eat.
I suggest black locusts.
Okay.
It's great honey. It's great
Yes,
honey
growing.
tree.
But yeah, I'd be happy to work with you on that, but we gotta work with them too. We gotta work with Conservancy, because they're, we've mentioned, I think, the day before our picnic, we did the walk through there, and we got their letter of recommendation for some things that we need to do in order to keep our agreement in good standing, and we are, do it, so, thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, excuse me, I just ride through Maple Leaf, I live in Newbury, I walked that park twice a week. A lot of stuff fell down, got blown down and whatnot. Can't clean that up, right? Conservancy wants it to just be like it is.
Is it in the trails?
Yeah, it's off the trail.
It's off the trail now.
It's off the
It was on
trails.
the trail.
Yeah, I doubt if they're gonna.
Okay, it's just.
There is a,
sad.
right off the park itself there, kind of where things come and make a turn there, there's
Yeah.
half a dozen blowdowns, decent sized tree, over the creek down there, over the creek bed.
So my other question is, the trail around the field, they're going to allow you to keep that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna keep the trail, yeah.
That's
But they have the same, we traded in order to get that parking lot
That's
area.
why I asked. Which is very nice, by the way.
And it's
Did a good
necessary
job
too.
with
If you're ever there when like football games are switching up between one to the next one, it was necessary. But yeah, we keep the trail.
Yep.
That's clear already.
Tends to use it for the trail.
Anything else?
Gene, going back to your inside and outside millage discussion, now that you have a resolution that you've rescinded that levy in March, would that not count as that little check mark of you're participating in that?
Not as far as the auditor's concerned, because they wanna see they wanna see what you're giving up. We're giving it up, but we're not actually,
Actually, we already gave it up.
we gave it up, but it's not in their reference.
We
of
were way
giving
ahead
it
of
up.
the game by a few years.
Okay,
We
just
saw
trying to-
this
We're
coming.
giving it up because of the situation that happened to Auburn. And had we not had that problem, we'd be looking at these qualified levies that we could participate in.
I thought they were non-qualified.
Well, there's qualified and unqualified, and they told us which ones were qualified. We had a fire levy that was qualified.
Right, the
One of
ones
our
after
road and bridges.
2013, I
Right.
believe, are the ones that, the auditor's department is suggesting, are the ones that have most benefit.
Right. But again, because of our situation, we're actually giving it up anyway, so.
Well, just trying to get that out to the voters to
Right.
know that,
Right. Like I said, I'm doing a couple subdivisions where I'm meeting with the residents and going over some of this. Because I really do think it's gonna be a shock to a lot of people when they get their new property tax bill.
So when you said the tax bill's going up 30%, you're talking about the inside millage portion of the tax bill is going up 30%?
The value of your home
Understood
is
that.
going up, and yes, that's the inside
But
millage.
the only-
Those things that you already voted on,
Mhm.
they stay the same.
Okay.
HB 920.
Yeah, 20.
And that will necessitate the action of your state legislatures, or legislators, to go in and modify the wording so that, you know, they can catch these later levies so that, there is an additional penalty to homeowners, and taxpayers to be caught off guard. And I don't imagine the state legislature is going to act on that by the end of the year.
It didn't sound like it, did it?
No, I mean, in truth, some of us have already contacted some of our state legislators and have not heard back from them. They must be pretty busy.
Like I said, the fact is, this isn't our fault, isn't their fault, isn't your fault, it's what happened to real estate. And it's still going on right
It's
now.
going on right now.
Still going on right now.
Well, my question for it is, if real estate prices, values are up 30%, and then interest has gone from, to buy get a loan to buy that, it's gone from 2%, 2.5% up to 8%.
Mhm.
Is anybody buying
Yes.
Yeah,
They are?
they are.
at 8% interest?
I have a nephew who's been looking for a house for 2 years, and every time he goes and bids on it, it goes for 50, 60,000 over the asking
Yeah.
price.
It's like trying to get that Ram truck, you know, when they put
Right.
it on, make it available, and missed another one, you know, because somebody grabbed it. It's just, there's many. Gentlemen, one final question here, we made a resolution regarding, pond, and.
On the what, I'm sorry?
Okay, didn't quite hear Mr. Troyan, was that just that you're not gonna have an official hearing?
Yeah, we're not,
We waived our right.
Yeah, we waived our right to it because there's no
we generally
problems.
don't, what we do is, when a license comes up, we contact the
If the police
sheriff.
say it's okay, or
If they
sheriff.
come back and they say, yeah, there's no problem, then we
Yeah,
don't
right,
request a
right.
hearing.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I heard that, you know, we have trouble with the county level too. Some folks don't speak as loudly and clearly as they could, and if some of us are getting older,
No.
and we do make an effort to see and hear as much as we can. Just checking, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? No, don't forget to vote tomorrow. Everybody's at Adam Hall, all in township nowadays.
You can have a watch party, PJ?
Yeah.
Watch party. If that's what you call it.
A victory party?
Are you? Yeah. Everybody at Dan's house tomorrow.
We just need one vote.
We need a motion to adjourn?
Yes, we do.
You got a hot
Motion
date?
to
That was it.
adjourn.
I'll second it.
A hot date with Phil.
I know what you mean.